tell you about the day that changed my life. I was 18 years old. I walked into a seminar very similar to something like this. 18 years old. Never been to a seminar before. And at the front of the room, the lecturer was talking about relationships. And he asked the question, what is the shared percentage between two people necessary to make the relationship work? And so I was 18, wise in all the ways of love and marriage, of course. So I stood up and raised my hand and said, 50-50. You know, everybody's got to be willing to do their part of the deal. Look on his face was evident that that was not the right answer. So somebody else stood up and said, 51-49. Somebody's got to be willing to pull the weight just a little bit further to keep it going. Still not the right answer. Somebody else stood up and said, 80-20. And then they gave some sort of algorithm of how it worked out between two people. Still not the right answer. Got tired of asking. Went to the whiteboard at the time and simply wrote 100-0. Until you're willing to take 100% responsibility to make the relationship work with zero expectation in return, will you make the relationship work? Because if you ever give with the expectation to get, you will constantly sabotage the relationship, and it's only a matter of time before it will spiral into oblivion. And then he went on to explain how you are 100% responsible for your life in every circumstance, in every situation, at all times in your life, no matter what. It is not McDonald's fault. It is not Obama's fault. Mitt Romney is not going to change the potential of your future. The only person responsible for every single outcome in every single circumstance is you, 100% of the time. Now, if I asked all of you, how many of you take 100% responsibility for your life, all hands would go up. But if we had a camera on you the past week, that's a nervous laugh. There would be times where I'm sure you would be complaining about the healthcare policy in Washington, or about the weather, or about traffic, or about your neighbor, or about your spouse, or your kids are the reason why you're so mad or upset, or some other thing outside of yourself of why you are the way you are. But, in fact, you are 100% responsible at every turn. Now, let me just explain this in deep, because a lot of people don't understand this. So, 3 ways you're always 100% responsible for your outcomes. Number 1 is by what you do. Everybody gets that. Hey, I did it, my fault, my bad, I did it, sorry. Everybody gets that one. Okay, I did it. Here's the one people start to miss on. By what you don't do. A lot of times the reason why you aren't where you're at is because you chose not to do the thing you know you should have but didn't. And that's the reason why you're still responsible for the outcomes of your life or this situation at this moment. So that could be a light bulb for some. Now, this is the one that really trips people up, because I get people to come up to me all the time and go, yeah, but what if you're hit by a bus, or you get this debilitating disease, or you lose a limb, or you fall off a horse, or whatever? Well, I get a chance to interview some of the most amazing people on the planet. People who have had the most heinous, tragic, disastrous things happen to them. And they have gone on to live amazing, world-denting, world-affecting lives by this 3rd level of responsibility. And that is how you respond to what's done to you. You are still the owner of responsibility at all times. When you really embrace this, and again, I was 18, and I really got this, like something went on in my brain that said, wow, you mean it doesn't matter what family I came from? It doesn't matter what education I've got, what economy I'm in, where I live. If it's the be, it really is just up to me. Like, I can create any outcome I want. I'm 100% responsible at all times. To me, this was the ultimate power. I was not dependent upon the right president, the right policy in Washington, the right economy, the right weather, the right neighborhood, the right friends, the right peers, the right alumni. None of that had any bearing on how I could direct and captain my own life. Very powerful if you really get truly, like not just the idea I'm responsible, but you truly own that in every situation. So I'll give you an example. I was, a while back, I was sitting down with a friend of mine, and he was complaining about his wife, and he's like, she doesn't do this for me, and I wish she would do this, and she does this thing that annoys me. I'm like, dude, you gotta stop. Your wife is amazing, and you're lucky that she puts up with you. And that was the truth. I said, let me just tell you something that I did in my relationship, and see if it might help out in this situation. So I'm a big Thanksgiving fan. Like everybody does Christmas and Christmas cards, I write Thanksgiving cards. I mean, it's just a great holiday. Food, family, appreciation, gratitude, not all the commercial gimmickry with it, right? Just awesome. So I write Thanksgiving cards to all my friends and family. One Thanksgiving Eve, I'd finished doing it. I had one more left to do, and it was the one for my wife. And we had had a tiff earlier that day, and I wasn't feeling very thankful. So I was having a hard time with it. So I was struggling with it, and I thought, wait a minute, just back up here. Forget what just happened, and what do I really feel about her? What am I grateful for? What do I appreciate about her? And I wrote out this beautiful card, and I saved it for the next day. But the rest of that day, we had this amazing day. And I remember going to bed that night going, wow, what if I could do that every day? So I took this empty journal, and starting the next day on Thanksgiving, I secretly and privately just wrote down one or two or three things that I was grateful for about her that day. And I just did it in private. It took me 2 to 3 minutes a day. And I did it for the entire year. And then the next Thanksgiving, I wrapped it up, and I gave it to her as a gift. I know, that's what she said. No clap. So, I appreciate it, but no. So she cried and said it was the best gift she's ever gotten, which was saying something because her birthday was 4 months earlier, and I'd given her a BMW. So I'm like, could have saved some money on this deal, right? So I told my friend, I said, why don't you just for 90 days, just privately write down 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for about her each day for 90 days. He said, okay, I'll do it. It wasn't 30 days later. He calls me. He's like, you wouldn't believe the transformation of my marriage. We've never been closer. We've never been more intimate. We've never talked and communicated. He said, I've never been more in love with my wife than I am right now. And I said, here's the interesting thing. She didn't change at all. The only thing that changed was what he was looking for. So instead of looking for all the things that she wasn't doing or that she was doing wrong, he was forcing himself to look for the things that she was doing right and that he loved and appreciated. And because he saw it, he felt it, he behaved differently, she responded to that behavior, and it what? Compounded into something totally different. He was the one that could totally be responsible for changing that relationship around, even though there was 2 people in the party. So I encourage you to do it as well. You can get, there's a gratitude assessment on thecompoundeffect.com/free if you so are inclined. So here's a homework assignment. Pick a frustration and keep a Thanksgiving journal for 21 days. Just try it. Between now and Thanksgiving, that would be awesome. Here we are, early November. Pick somebody and just each day privately write down 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for. Maybe get a card and just start writing in it so that at the end of the card, you'll have 21 days of gratitude accumulated for that person. Here's the key line. When you change how you look at a situation, the situation changes. All right, so what follows choices? Choices are the first line of code in the operating system. Next is behavior. If you do make a different decision, you make a different choice, now you got to get off the damn couch, out the front door, and make something happen. You have to turn